Hello and welcome to you beautiful people on the 7th episode of The Missing Piece with me, RESHMA GEORGE. So everybody who doesn't know me, I am from India. I'm from Pune. I am an access consciousness facilitator. I have been in the industry of healing for the past 8 years. And I'm here to talk to you about a topic. And that is, would you rather be in an abusive relationship than be in none? How many of us think that if we're not in a relationship, we have failed very dynamically? How many of us constantly think, hey, Akyati, that if we don't have a man or woman, we failed very dynamically? Hi, Shabu. And especially if you're somebody who is past the age of getting married, such as 30, such as me, then you're doing something really wrong. You've got to get your priorities set right. And how many of us who are married, or rather who are in a relationship, be in the relationship because you've been with the person for some time? Do you ever ask if this relationship is working for me? Do you ever ask, is this fun for me? Or do you say, yeah, but this is how it is. It doesn't, what will I do? Like if I get divorced, if I break up, who will I be with? I wouldn't have anybody. I wouldn't know what to do. So you'd rather be in the relationship than actually be alone, because that's what's the most comfortable thing to do. That's the best choice that's available to you at that given point of time. But is it really the best choice? So today's going to be sort of like an interaction session. So today we had our beautiful guest, YUVIKA Gupta. She was going to be on with us, but unfortunately, she's not been able to get on because she's on her way to Jippy and her car's brake sort of failed. So she's standing in the middle of the hills, enjoying the hills, but she's not on with us right now. She will be on another episode, and we will have a conversation with her soon. But for today, it's only me for you. So how many times do we actually look at if a particular relationship is working? And when I say relationship, I don't mean a lover or a husband or a wife. I mean any relationship. So I am a Malayali, for all you people who don't know. My roots are back in Kerala. I'm born and brought up in Pune. So I have a bunch of friends in Kerala. Like we literally will die for each other if given a chance. So there was this particular time that we were really close knit. Okay, we talk most very regularly. We're there for each other. If there's an issue, we get together and we look at ways to solve it. And we go on a lot of trips together. And after a point of time, I started feeling like the head of the group, where I was literally taking care of everybody. And I started feeling drained. And I didn't really look at, but it's not working for me. I just thought, okay, but this is how it is. This is how it's supposed to be. I never really thought, okay, but can I change something so that it works for me as well? But I never thought about it because that was never told to me that relationships have to work for me. I always was taught that you have to learn to adjust. You have to learn to figure a way out. You don't just walk out of a relationship. You don't just leave something because it's not working for you. And that's when I realized how much of an abuse that is to me as a person, how much of abuse that is to me as a being. How much fun is that? Family is something you generally don't choose, right, per se. I mean, you also choose your family before you come onto earth, but that's one thing that comes by default with you. But all the other relationships, friends, your spouse, your children, children again, you don't, the child chooses you, but your pets, your neighbors, the locality you stay in, everything you choose. So why would you put up with people who aren't willing to contribute to you? Doesn't mean you start becoming selfish, but you also got to look at, will it work for me? So every day when I wake up, the first thought that comes to me is I have to take my dog for a walk. It's not about, hey, what a beautiful day and what can I create today or what else is there. It's always about another person. It's always about my dog. So in my life, I am not a priority. And then when we start adding people to our lives as friends or spouse or, people, your energy is that I'm not a priority. So then they don't make you their priority, because you yourself are not a priority to yourself. So you teach the world how to treat you. Yes, Akhyati, that is subtle abuse. You teach the world what you want to be treated as. So if you are not on your priority list, if you're not on the list of, okay, is this giving me joy? Is this bringing me happiness? What am I doing? Is it working? Is it not working? And if it's not working, how can I make it work? Or how can I change this? If you're not asking those questions and you're by default being in that space that, okay, I have to make it work anyways, I don't really have a choice, then how fun is it really? So for a very long time, we function from how are we supposed to do it? The supposed to is a set of rules and regulations that the world has given us, that this is how it's supposed to be. It's not really how it is supposed to be for you, but this is how it has been up until now, and this is how it's supposed to be. But have you ever asked what will actually be fun for you to create? So up until I think the 80s or the 90s, all the kids that were born before the 90s were told you have to be a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, or a banker. There was no other way to go about it, right? But we kids, when we came into the 90s, like I'm the 90 generation, when we came into being, we were like, no, but this, I don't want to be a doctor or an engineer or a banker or a teacher. I want to do business. So we made that change in our career and our other choices, but why aren't we actually making that choice in our relationships? Why are we still following the rules and regulations that have been passed on generation to generation, lineages to lineage, that this is how it's supposed to be? There are subtle changes here and there, but are we really changing what we would like in our relationships? Or are we just making like that slight twist? What if we could choose something completely different? So the abuse that we constantly see our parents do to themselves, like my mother, she's on her feet from morning 7:30 or 6:30 to 9:30 at night, and she barely does anything for herself. And that is abuse. She's not on a priority list. Hi. So we've seen our mothers work their ass off, be selfless, constantly be there for her family, and we've seen our fathers be the providers and constantly work their ass off and not make them the priority in any way, and we make that our way of living because that's all we have been exposed to. Now, what if we could actually go out there and look at all the other things that's actually available to us? Abuse is not the only thing that's available, but abuse is very prevalent in the world today. What if we could start from not making us the last person on our priority list? What if we could change that? And you know how we can change that is by starting to look at what is it that you would like to do, like from the slightest of the things, from what you put into your body. making your body the priority, making, giving your body what it requires, to making subtle choices of when you go out with a friend, when she asks you, what do you want to eat? And not say anything and say, hey, I'd like this. Like, how often do we go out and we say, Acha, you choose, and I'll just eat it. I'll just have a bite from it. And how many times does, when somebody asks you something and you say, I don't know, what do you think? Like, this whole sentence of I don't know is such a subtle way of constantly invalidating what you know. So when that, in a day, when you say I don't know 100 million times, when you have the opportunity or the possibility to make a choice for a greater choice, like maybe a career choice or a marriage choice or a relationship choice, like, and then you start talking to all the people around you and say, hey, what do you think about this guy, or what do you think about this girl, or what do you think about this opportunity that's come up? But you won't look at what do you know about that opportunity, or what do you know about that possibility that's available to you. So I have a small exercise for you. Tomorrow, or rather the rest of today, for the next 4 hours or 5 hours until you sleep, count how many times you say, I don't know. Like, I don't know is a filler for me. Anybody ask me something, I don't know, I think it is. That's how I frame my sentences. It begins with the I don't know. But what if you knew? What if you knew everything? Akyati says, I was made wrong in my teens when I made myself a priority. I was called selfish. I know, right? I know. I was made wrong when I actually stepped out of this. In our community, in the Christian community, we have a youth association. And I was an office bearer for 5 years. I was a treasurer. I would take care of the accounts of the association. And the moment I stepped out of the youth association, I was made wrong. I was like, why isn't Reshma coming? She doesn't want to be a part of youth anymore. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't work for me. But this is how it's supposed to be. I was constantly made wrong, and I was constantly judged, and I was constantly vilified for not being a part of that association any longer. But it was not fun. It was just politics, and I was like, I don't like it. It's not like I have to do it. Hello, Harish Ji. So what if, are you willing to be called selfish, Akyati and everybody else who's watching us? Are you willing to be called selfish? Like, are you willing to be judged as selfish? Are you willing to hear that, just because you're sure of what you want, are you willing to be tagged as selfish? So when you say, I don't know, and when you constantly instill that subtle invalidation of your being on a regular basis, you fit into this society somehow. But when you're clear of what you want, then you become the outrageous Guys, can you hear me? I'm sort of cutting off, I guess. If you can hear me. So when you stop subtly abusing you, you will stop anyone who tries to even abuse you. Now, what do I mean by that? So when anybody shows his head or, their head and say, hey, this is not like, that subtle gaslighting where they say something in a very sweet way, but intend to instill doubt into your world. That's abuse. And how many times do close friends and families constantly make you doubt your own decisions? And what if now is the time to be aware of it? And you know who does gaslighting to whom the most? You do gaslighting to your own self. By constantly doubting your own choices, by constantly asking yourself, am I getting this right? Am I screwing it up? Do I know what I'm doing? Do I not know what I'm doing? It's a way of gaslighting you constantly, and a way of never truly discovering what is possible for you. So what if you start from this moment and actually have a bird's eye view about your life and the people you involve in your life on a regular basis, and start actually asking, are they creating greater for me? Am I having fun with this? One question that I really love and I use is, by adding this person into my life, am I creating 20 times more than I have before when I was alone? And if I'm not creating 20 times more than what I have, from what I was alone, like when I was alone, then it doesn't make sense adding this person. So not saying add people with an agenda, but add people with an awareness if it's creating greater or not. Is it fun for me? Are we creating greater? Are we having fun? Are we laughing a lot? Are we creating greater on the planet? Are we not? Ask these questions. And not choose from a space of judgment or conclusions. So I'm acknowledging that I have these set, what are they called? Traits that I enjoy. Like, person has to have great conversation, has to be intelligent, have great, intelligent conversations. This should be fun, should be spontaneous, should be crazy like me. And if not, then I cannot engage with them. And I'm not talking about a partner per se, I'm talking about any person. If I don't see a tad bit of crazy in that person, I'll probably reject the person. And how often do we do that? And what is crazy? Crazy is a definition. What is my crazy may not be your crazy. So what definitions do we have in place in order to reject the person so that we never really have to receive? We're constantly trying to reject somebody because they don't fit into our definitions. And if you can hear the scratching on the background, that's my dog trying to dig through the floor. So we even have expectations of animals. He's supposed to behave. He's supposed to not make a noise in the background when I'm doing a Facebook Live. Are you kidding me? Shouldn't he know all this? And we get angry about how it's not going as per plan. Like, imagine we do this constantly. We do this all the freaking time. We have these set rules, definitions on the basis of which everything has to take place. We're constantly trying to control how something shows up, what shows up, when it shows up, with whom it shows up, rather than actually letting the universe contribute to you and give to you everything. So what if I have another exercise for you? I've become a exercise person these days. Like, not literally, I should technically be doing that too. But well, that's a definition too, right? So tomorrow when you wake up, ask the universe to surprise you. If you believe in God, then God. Say, God, surprise me. What are the conversations I can have? What are the beautiful things I can see? Who can I talk to? What can you gift me, universe? Oh God, what can I surprise me today? And just be willing to receive. Just be willing to receive. And also be aware of all the places you do not choose for you. You choose because you have to please somebody. You choose because it will make somebody else happy. You choose because you do not want to disappoint people. You choose because, it'll create greater for the other person. But how about you include you in the equation as well, while including the other person too? include everyone, include everything, including you. And ask for the universe, surprise me today. How much fun can I have today? What would it be like for me to have the best day ever up until now? Have you ever thought about how today could be the best day ever? Like, we always concluded that trip we had with a friend, or that date we had with somebody, or that conversation with your parent, or that project that you did was amazing. What if today could be the best day ever? Filled with honor, gratitude, trust that you got it. That you just got it. Hi, Mish. So this is my invitation to you. Firstly, to look at what is actually working for you and what doesn't work for you. And start including things that actually work for you. People that actually work for you. Energies that actually work for you. Projects that actually work for you. And a great question to ask is, what can I add to my life today? Which I ask very often. Who are the people I can add to my life today? And what can you eliminate? The more contributed things you add, the things that do not contribute falls apart. So if you start adding contributive people, all the abusive people will fall apart. You wouldn't have the time to crib and cry about how somebody is being nasty or rude or not contributive. You will start focusing on contributive and nurturing people who are contributing to you constantly. So start adding things that actually create greater for you, and all the things that don't work for you will just slide away. And the missing piece is the addition of relationships, right? So we're focusing majorly on relationship, but this is applicable to business as well. Who can you add to your business? Who can you add to your projects? Who can you add to your life? What can you, like, what would it be like to constantly have and be and receive contribution from everyone and everything? What if it doesn't have to be all you, like the one man or woman army that you are? If you could constantly receive contributions. I've been a one woman army in my business for the longest time. And I had fun. Now it's fun to play with more people, and I have 3 members on. And it's fun to banter with them, it's fun to create with them, it's fun to tap into the business, and it's so much more ease. So are you willing to have that ease, joy, and glory that we keep talking about? Are you truly willing to have that? Are you willing to have it in your relationships? Are you willing to have it in your business? Are you willing to have it with your body? Are you? And one thing that I'd like to invite you to is, have you ever thought about how much we abuse our body? Body is never a priority. Body is the last thing we look at. Because anything to do with the body is a waste of time, most of the times. But you realize you're not going to be on the planet if it was not for the body. You don't need a relationship if it's not for the body. You don't need money in business if it's not for the body. So how about honoring your body will actually lead you into exponentializing your life, your living, your creations, and your business? Include it. And what I mean by including it, I don't mean only movement or exercise. Be in conversation with your body. It's like this friend of yours who you've ignored for lifetimes and lifetimes, and who you've never wanted to talk to. It's still constantly contributing to you. So how about you start actually including your body? And what if that was also a step towards honoring you and having a great relationship with yourself? So do you have any questions, guys? I can answer questions if you have any. Please put it in the chat. And it's it's just getting clearer day by day. The more I include myself, the more I include my awareness, the more I include my body, the more I make me, myself as a priority and look at what will create greater. It always makes life easy. Always. So this is my invitation to you. To include everyone and to constantly receive without judgment. And also eliminate and eradicate subtle abuse or any kind of abuse from your space. Thank you so much for joining, guys. This is it for now. I'll see you with another beautiful guest next week at a similar time. And I have some exciting news, so I will share the news very soon. Thank you so much, and thank you, Sonali, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Mwah.